Small towns make up the fabric of South Dakota and surrounding states. It's actually people from small towns who make for big events, like Stock Show. But along the way, every day, there are those who are living and working and succeeding in small towns, like Dana Keffeler of Keffeler Kreations in Faith, the 2021 Retailer of the Year, selected by the South Dakota Retailers Association. We caught up with her on her way to work. A bit more than your average commute.
Yep, we live 50 miles out of town.
Gee, how was the commute this morning?
It wasn't bad at all.
I don't think there's any.
Drove on worse.
I bet you have. I bet there's not many city folks who would think there would be a 50-mile commute.
No.
out in the country. Are you a native of Faith?
I've always lived out where I live now. I married the neighbor boy, so I didn't get too far. And then we went to grade school at Union Center in Inning, so.
That must be where the lieutenant governor,
yep.
Larry Roden, is familiar with you. You know, he describes you as hardworking, creative, fun, and friendly.
Yeah, I know him well. His kids actually were in high school the same time that ours were, and they all grew up in the grade school together. And
well, that's all got to be a part of the many reasons that Keffeler Kreations was selected as the 2021 Retailer of the Year by South Dakota Retailers Association. Congratulations.
Thank you.
As a store owner doing business in a small town, you've got to have a story to tell, because so many times people think that, you know, business isn't doing well in small towns, but here you are, like 10 years later from your first purchase of the floral shop, expanded the business, built a new building, Retailer of the Year. You know, it just goes on and on.
It kind of seems like a dream, because it really doesn't seem like that, but it started out, I actually started staying in when my kids were in high school, and we would stay in as parents and take turns, another lady and I, and it was kind of to the point where I was kind of bored, wasn't really doing anything, and I knew I didn't want to work for someone else, so this guy had a flower shop, and he had just got divorced. He kind of ended up with this flower shop, and I went to lunch with a friend of mine, and I said, I'm getting really bored, I need to find something to do. And she goes, well, why don't you buy Country Closet? And I said, okay. So I got home, and I called him, and I asked him if he would be interested in selling, and he says, let me think about it. Yes. So anyway, and it just kind of went from there. I told him, well, get me a price, and we'll get it figured out. And so I bought it January 1st. We were at a basketball game, and our son was playing, and one of my husband's friends come up to him, and he said, hey, I heard your wife bought a flower shop. And I looked at him, and I said, I guess you should have bought me flowers. It'd have been cheaper. He didn't even know I bought it. So, and it's just been going great since. It's expanded, and
so
been pretty cool.
Did you ever think that, did you ever think you'd go into retail?
Oh, no. I'd never even run a cash register before. I mean, I jumped into this cold turkey. I had no idea what I was doing. So the lady that was actually working for the gentleman, she taught me everything.
I guess you could call it a leap of faith in faith.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't put a lot of thought into it. I'm just like, sure, I'll buy it, and let's do it.
So over the course of time, I mean, you've added, you've expanded, you've added a lot of different elements to Keffeler Kreations. Tell us about how each of those kind of evolved for you.
Well, when I first bought it, all I had was, he had a flower shop, and I had that. A little bit of a coffee shop, just like an espresso machine, and then screen printing. And I guess I purchased a couple embroidery machines, and a lady, actually it was my sister-in-law that was working for me at the time, we went to Minneapolis and did training on the embroidery machines and brought that to the business, and the clothing has just expanded. I guess we have a lot of clothing, men, women, children's, shoes, everything. And it just, I guess if one department isn't busy, the other department is. I mean, it's busy. And then I guess I brought a tanning bed in. And then I do have 2 ladies that work for me, or no, they don't work for me, but they rent a space from me, and they do hair and nails. And then we just brought in a chiropractor. He comes once a week. A massage therapist come once a week, and then we have a lady that does Botox and different things like that, cosmetic things.
What a unique mix of things that, when you think about it, there's some area in the community, some people in the community that will need one or the other or want all of that.
Right.
And the South Dakota Retailers Association, they note, like in their nominating process or their award process, that it recognizes businesses committed to excellence in their business, but also making a positive change in their local communities. And I mean, we know that you tie a lot of your marketing to other things that are going on in the community, whether it be sports or the sale barn or other things. Is that something that you spend time thinking about, Dana, so that you're connecting the whole community with Keffeler Kreations?
Yeah, we try to be very involved in the community and what's going on and with the school, and try to help out as much as we can with that and fundraising.
And I know, I mean, you're the sports clothing and all those kinds of things, the Longhorn clothing can be found there at Keffeler Kreations.
Yep, we do a lot of apparel like screen printing and embroidery for different schools.
One of the things that I've heard you talk about is how this isn't a one-person show, that you give a lot of credit to staff who you call friends and family.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I couldn't do it without them. They're the big part of this, and they're the ones that got me here, so.
Kind of a dance with the ones who brung you kind of thing.
Yeah, they are awesome, and it's one of those things that I can step away and know things are taken care of and not have to worry about it if I want to go on a vacation, and they're very, very willing and able ladies.
When we talk about faith, and people can, it's a small town, but it's also a town that's known for its can-do kind of attitude. And I mean, long before, big name entertainment was coming to places like Stock Show, the Faith Stock Show and Rodeo was welcoming country recording artists, and the rodeo there, it's the longest running rodeo in the state. It's the birthplace of what is now the popular saddle bronc match format. You've got healthcare, schools, an active business community, and all of that surrounded by a ranching community as well. So wouldn't a better question to be not why would you do business in Faith, but why wouldn't you?
Actually, my banker, when I first went to him to get the loan to build this new building and stuff, and he's like, I just would feel more comfortable if you were like in Sturgis or Rapid or where there was more people. And I finally told him, I'm like, you've got to realize that where Faith is, we are so remote, there's such a demand for it, and we have such a large area that we service. I mean, we have people come from, 100 miles, and we're one of the closer places they can get clothes or, specialty coffee, embroidery done. We have a large community that supports us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad you could educate that banker.
I know. I educate him all the time. No.
You've been really progressive in your online work too.
Yep. I actually hired a lady, which was a friend of mine from high school, and she built our website and has really helped me get that going, and it's really taken off, mostly since the COVID. It's kind of a miracle, I guess, that we had that going.
So would you consider that an important part of your business in terms of moving product?
It is. It's a good thing for any business to have, I believe, nowadays. You have to have an online store.
You talk about this being a leap of faith. I mean, and you think back on the past decade, would you have done anything differently?
No, I actually love what I do. I don't regret a day.
Congratulations, and thanks again for joining us, Dana, on Stock Show today. That brings us close to a wrap for this year's show, broadcasting live from the KBHB broadcast booth at the Stock Show. For producer Francie Ganji, show hosts Gary Matthews, Lori Jeffries, and Dean Kinney, our many guests and listeners, and of course our sponsors, D-Tie Vet Supply and Kennedy Implement. Thanks for tuning in.